Hi everyone, welcome to a Dee and a Don.
I'm Pat. I'm the D.
I'm Dave, I'm the Don. Good to see you, mate. We haven't chatted for 3 weeks, so we've got a lot of finals to talk about. But we thought rather than go through every game, we'd go through the ladder, just the finals teams from first to eight. And we love a good narrative on this show.
Absolutely.
So we just thought we'd talk about the narrative for the season, and finals does shed a bit of light on that. I wouldn't mind doing my All Australian team again after the finals,
Mm,
but I think Dawson might drop out.
a little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
little.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that too. People who've covered themselves in glory in the finals and those who haven't. Anyway, top of the ladder at the end of the home and away season was Adelaide, and the narrative for them is yes, it turns out that no finals experience does matter.
Agreed. They were very consistent throughout the whole season, and especially, they really had a real pressure within a lot of the matches, and they had a firing forward line. But there was one thing you did mention when one of the previous podcasts, and you said to me, "What about their midfield? I just don't know enough about their midfield." And frankly, I think they got found out, the midfield. I mean, obviously you had Dawson, who, all Australian, had a great year, but I thought that they got found out in the finals.
Turns out if you sit on Dawson, they haven't got much else just this year. I mean, who knows next year? And they'd
Yeah,
definitely probably be in the market for Petrarca or for Merritt or for whatever kind of A grade or even B grade
yeah,
midfielder that they could use to bolster that. Turns
yeah.
out the three key forwards didn't really work in
No,
finals.
no,
Hard to think of a key forward who's really dominated this final series, but
yeah.
it certainly wasn't Tex Walker, Riley Thilthorpe, or
Well, yeah,
Doherty.
Doherty and Keys also didn't have a great two
Turns
finals either.
Turns out without Rankin, it's a
Yeah,
pretty big loss. And everyone went, "Oh, I've still
massive.
got keys." No,
Yeah,
mate, you're
no,
sprinkles.
yeah,
you,
no,
you're the icing on the cake. You're not the butter and
yeah,
egg and flour.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, you're right. I mean, what a disappointment for.
Two home finals and they lost them
Yeah,
both. I'm surprised there haven't been lynchings in Adelaide.
yeah.
But look,
Maybe they'll come.
look, I think they'd be stoked with what they achieved, but turned out,
Mm,
and they weren't the only ones to learn it. I think Levi Ashcroft had that look on his face halfway through the first final, or just after he got subbed. Oh, this is different.
mm,
You know, there's a guy who spent his whole
mm.
life getting ready for finals,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
hopefully they learn from that. But at
yeah,
the pointy end, they were found wanting.
absolutely.
All right, so we won't talk about second, third, or fourth because that's
Yeah.
Geelong, Collingwood, and Brisbane. Sorry, Geelong, Brisbane, and Collingwood.
Yep.
We'll talk about them when we do the two games. And then fifth was GWS.
GWS.
Is the window shut?
It, you know, they really did come into the end of the season. I thought with with guns firing, they had their forwards doing really well, but again, there were some issues with their forward line. Toby Green obviously didn't fire in the final. He had one of his really quiet games, and really didn't impact what he's been doing, throughout a lot of the season. And of course, Cadman as well. That was a pretty quiet game from Cadman as well. What do you think?
So my one-line narrative for them was they've got some young stars and they've got some old
Mm,
stars, but are their old stars getting too old? And I think that was evident when they went in with three injured players.
yeah.
They took Jesse Hogan in, who seemed to spend a lot of time getting his foot worked
Mm,
on.
mm,
In between, he
mm,
was brilliant, but
mm,
like he's just
mm,
getting a bit old.
mm.
Uh, who was the second old player? I can't. God, 3 weeks ago. But
Yeah.
the third one was Josh Kelly, and I'm like, well, if you're playing him as a sub, then there
Mm.
must be something wrong with him. And then he came on in the
And just
second half
blitzed.
and just about won them the
Won the
game.
game. I know. I know.
I was on a bus and at half
Yeah.
time
Yeah. Yeah.
I got off, I got in the car
Yeah.
and there was 7 goals up,
Yeah.
Kinnerton kicked one. You could almost see him like dancing around on the radio.
Mm, mm, mm.
And then I got home, hugged my family, said, oh, I need to lie down, went up, watched and the scores are level.
Yeah. Nice. It really came in a gallop. And I think they kicked something like 7 goals straight in about 17, 18 minutes. It was absolutely nuts.
Yeah. And after that game and the one after, people were talking about, or apart from Dusty Martin, is Jai Newcomb the
Mr. September.
yeah.
How many times do you hear that?
I think that Mr. September
I think
might
that's
have drank their own coffee.
so,
Just on prelim, I got to say to Goey and Newcomb, after spending 2 weeks being told what amazing finals players they were,
uh,
a
bit of
little
a
missing.
reality check.
We'll get to that when we.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think GWS have missed their window?
Um, look, I think they may have, to be honest. I think they've got some, absolute stars still. So, we spoke in their midfield. They apart from your Kellys, who's the
Caniglio?
Calino?
And
He's
Ward's,
quite
of course,
old.
gone. Yeah, no, a lot of them are old.
Yeah,
The young gun you're talking about,
yeah.
Sullivan.
No, I'm not talking about Sullivan. But it'll come
Tom
to me.
Green.
Tom Green,
See, those
excellent.
guys, like, I'd
Yeah,
love to have
yeah,
those two
yeah,
guys. But if you're relying on Caniglio,
yeah,
Green, Hogan,
yeah.
I think it might be time for Cadman and Green and Callahan to take over.
Mm. Yeah, look, I do. And Himmelberg, Himmelberg, I thought has had a pretty good season, but I think that he probably needs a bit of help in the back line. You've got Taylor there, but I think they're missing one or two, and yeah, it's really. I think they'll feel it was a lost opportunity.
Yeah, well, they've been so close the last 3 years, but it felt like they were one of the teams like Collingwood and Geelong with some old players who would have liked a 2 week
Yeah,
break at the start of
yeah,
finals and then
yeah,
a 2 week break before the prelim.
yeah. No, agreed.
All right, well, 6 and 7 was Freo and Gold Coast.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think both of them really were a level below the other finals teams. Like, well done on making it,
Yeah.
particularly Gold Coast. And to win one, Gold Coast was just wrapped. I was kind of hoping
That was their final.
that was their final.
Yeah.
And then the next week against Brisbane, it was like, all right,
Yeah.
we've lost the week before. We're Brisbane, we're the defending champions. Let's give little brother a little slap around.
They were
Can you sw-
gas.
They were wrapped to go over to Freo. But my one sentence narrative on Freo is, sure, great to make finals, but if you're playing a home final against a team that's never played finals before, you can't lose and then say it's great just to make finals.
No.
That was their chance to go a little further, but I think they would have been found out the same as Gold Coast up at Brisbane in week 2.
Look, yeah, they were just a little little rung down from the top four, and I can see why. But I guess when I saw them play against Bulldogs,
Yep.
in that last
See, that was their final.
that was unbelievable. So you
That
had
was a great effort.
Patrick Voss, he was on fire. He
But
he
if
was
you're
an
for
X
real, you
factor.
go home the next week
Yeah,
and you
you
knock
got to
Gold
win.
Coast off.
You've got to do.
They were close. The one thing I remember thinking that was when they really needed some run through the midfield, and I wanted Sarong and Brayshaw to, rip them up, and Hayden Young.
Yeah.
Sarong did, but if they've got looked to me like they were a bit top heavy. It always seemed like Darcy or Jackson or all their tall defenders, Ryan, Cox, and they were all Pierce. They were every time somebody handballed to them, I was like, no, you need a 6 footer.
Yeah,
And I think they do. They're probably in the Adelaide category with. I know you've got Young, but I don't know if you can. Like that's 3 gun midfielders. Who's the next one after that? So a little bit of work to do, but they're young and they will come.
They will.
And for Gold Coast, I think the next 5 years are going to be pretty scary.
I think so too.
Like in Hardwick's second year, you make the finals, you win a final, and now all off season he'll be like, all right, that's great, and that's history, but that's just a step.
How do we take that next step? Obviously, to put ourselves in a position where we can get to the preliminary final if we win the first game. So in the top 4.
Well, it's
So
fascinating that
that's what you're.
Perno wants to go there, and Hardwick's faced with this. Well, do I trade one of my gun young guys who we've had in the academy for 10 years, and sort of, I don't know, maybe ruin the culture?
Yeah.
But Charlie Curnow there for the next 5 years, really opens that window. So it'd be very interesting to see what they do because picking up Rioli and Noble were huge for them in the off season.
Yeah, that was a masterstroke of actually getting both of those in the back line. They had all Australian years, both of them, and then Stephen, Ben King, he had a great year as well.
I know.
He and that was the thing, right? When you were in that second final, you thought he kicked 2 goals in a couple of minutes, and
Yep.
you're thinking, hello. This could be the making of Ben King, right?
Okay, but that's because
Harris
Brisbane
Andrews.
started with Gardner
Yeah.
on King, and obviously they wanted Harris Andrews to be intercept marker. And then I was like, wow, that's a interesting decision.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, 2 goals.
Yeah.
Coach
Hello,
gets on the phone.
Mr. Andrews.
Sandros just moves across with a little blanket
Yeah.
and a pillow and just put him to sleep. And that was the end of that
was the
game.
99s. Poor old King.
Look,
He barely had a kick after that.
as long as you've got Rowell, Anderson, and Humphrey. Is it Humphrey or Jeffrey? Humphrey. Yeah, they've got Jeffries as well. And those guys are, still moving into their peak of their career.
That was there somebody else that actually drank their own,
Bathwater?
bathwater? Yeah.
Who was that?
Humphrey. Because they talked about Humphrey, he's come back, he's making a massive difference when they beat Fremantle, but then he went up to Brisbane, and probably the most he got was a suntan.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that covers everyone who didn't play in the prelims this weekend. Did you want to start, Friday night? Hawthorn?
Yeah, Hawthorn. I was there, and I mean, frankly, Hawthorn really had a chance to blow this game away.
First quarter?
First quarter, they kicked 3-4. They really should have been at least 5-2, to be honest. And you could tell that Geelong were spooked. You could tell. I mean, all of a sudden there were rush kicks from Geelong. They were making decisions which you don't see Geelong do, and they were under a lot of pressure.
So Mitchell had a week to work him out, and he worked him out exactly the same way that Geelong worked Brisbane out for the well, we'll talk about that, I guess, when we preview the grand final.
Yeah.
But he had a week, and he went, all right, you're going to throw Tom Stewart back as an intercept marker. I'm going to put Dylan Moore on him, and we will just leave you the forward line. We'll take Dylan Moore as an extra midfielder. We'll cut you up there, and then we'll just kick to anyone except Tom Stewart.
Yeah.
And that was really working. And
Yeah.
I don't know, at quarter time, I said to the guy I was watching it with, okay, so Chris Scott's supposed to be the best coach in the comp. They're getting blown away. You've got 5 minutes to work this out.
Yeah.
And he did. But it was around about exactly the same time that Tom Stewart had just got injured and is now missing the grand final, which is huge news.
Absolutely.
And with that, it's funny how,
First quarter.
yeah, you can kind of get away with it for the game it happens in, but I'm worried about, how that's going to affect their defence heading into, the biggest match of the year. But again, we'll talk about that later. But Hawthorn came out and gave it everything in the first quarter, and then by half time it was even.
Yeah. Well, half time was even. Pretty much after that first quarter, that
Didn't fire a shot.
didn't fire a shot. In the first quarter, you had Ginnivan saluting the crowd. When he kicked a goal and everyone was up and about. But funny enough, when Stewart's injury occurred, straight after that, all of a sudden there was a restructure, and you thought, oh, they're in real trouble, Geelong, without Stewart. They just changed. So that was, I don't know what happened. I mean, who went on to, when Stewart left? Was it, who actually took that position after Stewart leaving?
I don't think
Henry-
they did the intercept marking anymore.
Yeah. It was really, like, it was almost like a non-issue.
But it was the midfield where they killed them. I think it was
That's
something
right.
like 25 to 5 centre clearances. And Geelong, I felt so stupid. All year on this podcast, we've been saying, well, you've got Holmes and you've got Bailey Smith. Those are two great midfielders, but who's your third? Patrick
Yeah,
Dangerfield.
Dangerfield.
Only one of the greatest midfielders of all time. And all year, Scott's been going, oh, let's just play you here and let's just rest you a bit. And that last little 12 games in, oh, let's move everyone around and make them all flexible. And we were like, oh, you can't really tell. And then push comes to shove. Here you go. Go in the middle 30 times, Patrick Dangerfield, and play one of the best quarters of football in the third quarter. Well, in anyone's life. It was amazing. What I loved the fact that both these games, third quarter was the premiership quarter. That was it was a game changer. Patrick Dangerfield just said, "Jump on board, boys," and virtually won it himself.
Well, absolutely. And like he kicked the first goal for Geelong just before the end of the first quarter.
Yep.
And he just got better and better and better. It was like actually you're watching someone almost in fast forward compared to the way he jumps into packs. And what I noticed was he doesn't slide in on his stomach or anything like that. He actually manages to get down on his knees, and so he can pounce up. The way he positions his body when he's actually on the ground is incredible. He wrestles the ball out of the opponent's hands.
Yep.
But the beauty of it is because he's actually not flat on the ground, he's sort of up. He's got a 360 peripheral to be able to dish off the handball. He's like a cat.
It was just that old-fashioned, he just wanted it more. When the ball was in front of him, he just put his head over it and he got it over a handball. I mean, later on, he was, bursting out of packs and kicking goals and all that stuff. But just the hard ball gets that he...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, you go.
I was just saying, absolutely. I totally agree with what you're saying.
And then, it's nice when you've got Jeremy Cameron and those Stengels and Myers and Close, all the guys who you think, oh, you just the sprinkles that come out when, everyone else has done the hard work. I thought those guys were some of the ones who did the hard work in the second quarter. They've matured, those guys. They're get on my back.
Absolutely. The three, like we're talking about Stengel, kicked 3 goals. 3 clutch goals. Talking about Manor as well. So he is really... I don't know where they get these players from.
Well, that one Ireland.
So yeah, and then you throw in Myers as well. So the 3.
In Close.
No,
4.
Yeah, Close. 4.
No, they've got 4.
That's right.
The only thing that maybe worries me with Geelong, and we can talk about this later, if there's one thing that has really been impressive in this final series, it's that fullback who just goes, oh, leave it to me. Yeah. It was Barras in the first final for Hawthorn, and then I think after that, I was like, oh, are you Harris Andrews? No, you're not. Harris Andrews has been just so dominant. And Darcy Moore did a bit of that early in the final series as well. For Geelong, I tend to think it's more Stewart, and they don't have him. Who's the fullback who says, "All right, I'll just take Logan." Who takes Logan Morris?
Oh, look, I think Big Gloves. He's
playing him in the ruck.
They're playing him in a ruck because he had 29 hitouts. That is unbelievable. And
do you think they play Reece Stanley next week? He was
I think they do. I think they do because he played
huge call.
It's a huge call, but remember in the grand final as well, when they towed up the Swans, they played both Stanley and Big Gloves, and they were like a 1-2 punch. So I think Scott is thinking about that for sure.
I'm tempted to talk about the grand final now. It's such a fascinating duel because they just played it 2 weeks ago. Does O'Sheen Mullen go straight to McCluggage again? Because McCluggage in the 2 finals they've won has had like over 30 possessions and looks amazing. Yeah. And then when Mullen sat on him, it was like, oh, suddenly your midfield's the Ashcroft brothers. Yeah. We'll talk about the Ashcroft brothers in a sec. Yeah. Did you have anything else to say about Geelong Hawthorn?
Look,
I mean, Hawthorn, brave effort. Win 2 interstate finals. Yeah. They're coming.
Yeah, I thought, unfortunately, Newcomb needed help, right? And so Newcomb, he had 20 possessions, but he wasn't as effective. I saw a lot of his possessions, especially after half time. They were in the back line. Ward, he needed Ward, right? and he got Ward. Ward probably had his best game in the first of the finals. So with Newcomb, which really freed up Newcomb to do what he did. But unfortunately,
They're
Ward
missing
had
one
eight,
piece of the
eight
puzzle, aren't they?
possessions. Yeah. And that's why you can see Mitchell is going after a gun midfield, right? Albeit, controversially before the finals, but you can see what his thoughts are there.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it. Everyone said it all year.
Yeah.
They're, Will Day makes them a really good side, but they just miss that. I love, McDonald, and Ward, and all those guys in their midfield, but they could do with one more A grader. And I think it's time we stop talking about Newcomb as below all those other great midfielders. Like all year and then in the finals to do what he did, but he could do with a little help and a little bit of class.
Absolutely. And also just want to call out Gunston again. Boy, what he has been enduring and being such a player for Hawthorn throughout the whole year. Again, kicked 3 goals, clutch goals, and he was marking down the ground as well. So
Isn't it nice to see Mitch Lewis dominate as well? Because I'd been thinking, well, you can't bank on Gunston kicking 70 goals every year, but you can start to see 1-2 years' time, if Gunston's gone, Lewis and Kalshadir, it could work.
It could work. I mean, Lewis has got to play all 4-quarter game though, right?
Agreed.
He kicked 3 goals in the first half. He looked like he was about to rip the game open, but then all of a sudden he was unsighted.
Yeah, but that's when Geelong just really put the foot down in the midfield and maybe wasn't getting as much of it as he could. Were you happy with Watson's game?
No, I wasn't.
Too quiet?
Yeah, too quiet. He kicked a goal. Free kick goal.
Terrific goal.
Terrific goal. But yeah, if you're gonna, if you're gonna have 6 or 7 possessions, you've got to get 2 or more goals, in my opinion, right? To really have a real impact. I thought Ginnivan's game was better than what Watson.
Just never know what he's going to do though.
Yeah, I thought he actually really stepped up. Ginnivan. It surprised me, to be honest, but certainly a lot of positives that Hawthorn would have taken out of this year.
Yeah. When push came to shove, they were just a little not quite as good. In the big moments. If they could pick up a Zac Merrett and get Will Day back on the field, they're looking very good for next year.
They're looking at Petrarca as well, I think. Everyone seems to be looking at Petrarca.
Well, this is the second year that, I think Petrarca and Curnow have handled it the way I would have liked my captain to handle it. Said, look, I'm interested in moving. Thank you very much. We've had a good time. See what you can get for me, but this is what I want to do. Now, in Petrarca's case, that means that it's taken him an extra year. But you don't just burn the place down because you want to get out. But maybe I'm showing my Essendon colours there. Hawthorn are an excellent side, and they've. When I look at the players who want in return for Zac Merrett and the ages, they've got some amazing young players.
And we forgot to talk about Will Day as well, right? He was injured. They pretty much had one of their best players, or if not the best player.
Yeah, best player.
Best player, right?
Everyone said that's it for them, and then they go and win 2 interstate finals. Yeah. Not quite at the Geelong Brisbane level, but very close on the
very close.
Let's talk about last night.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So, firstly, I thought it was a cracking game. I really enjoyed the ebbs and flows of it. Brisbane, so Collingwood kicked the first goal, and then all of a sudden, you just saw the Brisbane midfield just take over. You had Zach Bailey, who I thought had way too much leg room and he really should have been properly tagged or what do you say? He just seemed to be everywhere.
Okay, but are you tagging Bailey? Are you tagging McCluggage? Are you tagging Will Ashcroft? They've just got. I looked in the midfield, and at one point they had Bailey, Rayner, and Dunkley, and I thought, "Oh, that's a nice mix-up."
Oh, yeah.
And then the very next bounce, both Ashcroft brothers were in there, and I was like, "Oh man, you guys have got fives, and you've got a dual Brownlow medalist sitting
Yeah.
in the stands." So I get what you're saying. That it was the same story as the night before in the sense that third quarter was the premiership quarter, but the difference was Dangerfield said, "Jump on
Yeah.
board."
Yeah.
For Brisbane, it was all of them.
Yeah.
McGluggage running into it. And
Yeah.
Collingwood, who've had, they keep telling us, the best defence all year,
Mm.
were suddenly just getting ripped
Yeah.
apart
Yeah.
at forward stoppages. And McCluggage is walking into a goal. Ashcroft kicked that one that bounced out of the air. That was crazy.
Absolutely.
He kicked two amazing goals last night. And then, and you, Rayner, no one had seen Rayner for a half a game. And then suddenly
Yeah.
he's marking everything.
Well, remember I texted you? I said just before half time, I said, geez, where's Rain?
Yeah.
And I said, and
I
that
nearly
was,
wrote, wait for it.
wait for it. That's right, exactly. Into the forward line. Look, would you say it's a masterstroke of Fagan? No, not really. I mean, really.
Try to put him in the midfield, you put him forward. At
At
some point,
some point,
yeah.
you're going to have to.
I mean, I think I texted you if he did that for 4 quarters,
Yeah.
then yeah, he'd be dusty. Everyone goes, "Oh, he's dusty." He's dusty for like 5-6 minutes. The difference was Dusty did it 4 quarters every game.
No, absolutely. So McGluggage was absolutely everywhere. He really has raised his game to a new level, in my opinion.
Well, when O'Sheen Mullen, if he does walk to him, I would think that the other Brisbane midfielders all day would be just picking him off. Like all day. They'd have to have a play. They can't let.
Got to have a play.
What did he have in the first final? Like 12 possessions or something?
14
14.
possessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the difference. That was pretty much the whole game.
Yeah,
Harris
right.
Andrews was dominant. He'll probably be dominant again.
Yep.
Um,
Is he Mr. September?
Possibly.
We've got to have a calendar or something. Mr. September.
Every page is Mr. September.
Honestly, the amount of times that I saw him intercept marks again, like whether it's not just deep into the back line.
That's Coxie. Like, seriously, Harris Andrews on Cox was like
I know. Exactly.
watching a grown man on a kid who didn't know how to play the game.
Exactly.
I just think, I don't know what McStay's going to be doing in the off season, but if you can't get a spot ahead of Coxie.
Well, look, that said, I've seen Coxie play worse games. He kicked 2 goals.
He kicked the first game, first goal of the game, and then I didn't see him for about 2 quarters. So I don't know when he kicked his second one. But
Remember, he got the shoe. He got the shoe.
rolling that back and forth. I still reckon Coxie didn't get his second.
I've seen him play, but unfortunately, the game was it was a game of almost from the Magpies. The first possession or the first bounce, you had Dacos who picks it up and absolutely drills it to Coxie, and he's just literally
Put your hands out. Take it.
he's gone for the chest mark and it's just bounced off. And
That one, yeah.
that one, and it was just like, oh, Coxie, come on, man.
Yeah.
talking about
After he kicked the
AFL here.
first goal of the game, I was like, "Oh, is he a prelim final specialist?"
Yeah,
Half an hour later, no, not at all.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the thing is, they've got just so much upside, Brisbane. I mean, you think about, the likes of Archie, you talked about Dunkley, you talk about even that Kai Loman, Mr. Push-Up. Yeah,
Mate.
I know. Is he a sprinkles player? Wouldn't have said that last time they played, but when last grand final they played when he kicked 4 goals. But
Lyman,
yeah,
did he?
yeah.
Everyone kicked 4 goals that day. Archie got 5.
No, he didn't.
Okay, well, a couple of last things. Epitaph for Collingwood. I feel like they've been holding the premiership window open, like through sheer force of will. but they've just got so many crucial players who are like 32, 33, 34. Like how, coming back from injury, looked like he'd never played football before in the first quarter. Mind you, so did Zorko. Then he started getting better,
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
can you count on him to get you back there?
Well, should they have actually played Howe?
It's a good question.
I wouldn't have played him.
What about Pendlebury? Last 5 minutes.
Exactly.
They're having like rush.
Exactly.
I thought that was what emergencies were
Yeah,
for. But when
agreed.
you've got guys who
Yeah.
are well at the end of their career, this sort of stuff, like it did with GWS.
Yeah.
And so you say, all right, how many times can you keep going back to the well and bringing in a Schultz or a
Houston.
Houston? Who's the other one? From GWS last year, Perryman.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are those guys better than the ones they've lost since their last premiership, Nathan Jones and Ginnivan? I feel like they're just through sheer force of will, but it might be time to find a young gun midfielder somehow. I don't think they've traded away their first pick in this draft yet, to get someone to help the Dacos boys, because I think
Side bottom is sort of. I mean,
he was.
he had a ripper first final.
I think Pendlebury going out with 2 minutes to go,
Yeah.
sorry, 5 minutes into the game, really threw them.
Well,
He's such a
absolutely.
leader, and they would have had a role for him, and then to send Pendlebury, so Sidebottom suddenly go across and do that. And I think it threw everything right out. But, you know, as they get older next year, this stuff's going to happen more often.
Yeah. Yeah. So why didn't he actually just pull out? I mean, you saw that he was having that discussion before the match, and you could tell that he was having consulting the doctors. That at that point, and like he literally he was only on there for 2 minutes. So
I
what
know.
I don't think he had a possession either.
Yeah, it's just he's such a huge part of that team, and maybe it's time to go. Other people need to step up, and he's such a great leader,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's such a good midfielder, and he does the tackling, and a lot of the stuff that allows Nick to go and shine.
And
But
Josh.
and
Forget
Josh too. But you know, after that, who's their best midfielder under 30? Like DeGoey and
Well,
Sidebottom and Pendlebury, they're not getting better.
Well,
So
to go his game as well. That probably was a real. That he didn't have the best game,
no, he didn't.
and he needed to have. He didn't have to be like best on ground like he almost was last final, but he was really he was down.
He was. So
What happened? Was he tagged or did he?
no, every time he went near it, he just fumbled. I mean, that's why I asked if they'd been reading their own press releases, because I don't think he was best on ground just last week. I think the first final he was probably best on ground as well. So they're the oldest team ever, right? So do they load up and go again and say, all right, is there one more piece, like a key forward? I mean, imagine if they swooped and got a Colonel or something. But I think they're pretty, I don't know how their cap is, but a lot of their guys aren't getting better. They're at the stage now where they're amazing players. Is Elliott going to kick, 55, 60 goals again next year?
Is he actually going to be at the Pies?
Yeah, well, there's word that he and Mychek,
Yeah.
they've been, probably now they'll work it out. They've had 2-year offers on the table, but I don't think it reflects the kind of money. Those guys are like, we've won you premierships, so like, pony up.
Yeah. My check didn't have a great game too.
No. Well, I've heard that you guys are looking at him.
Yeah, we've got the Chris Dawes sort of sniff
Well,
last time.
it's weird because I think of Fritsch and Mychek as very similar, sort of undersized key forwards. So to have two of them, they're 6'4". To have two of them in the same team, I think would be very interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Would it get you back to the promised land? I don't know about that. I don't know if what is he, 33?
Who?
Mychek, 33-year-old
Yeah, he
full
probably
forward,
is.
something like that.
Probably is, yeah.
Yeah.
33, 34, I'd say.
It'd be very interesting to see what they do because
We would pick up a 34.
well, you don't know.
I know things are getting desperate in the Demon Stakes, but but the way I see it is, well, you've got Membry there, right?
Yep.
So, okay, so Membry had not a bad season. I mean, kicked 2 goals yesterday. But you've got, let's be honest, you've got Nick Dacos, right? That guy delivers the ball. You want another forward. You want obviously if Elliott goes and Mychek, I mean, I'm preaching to the converted that you're going to need at least a couple of forwards. So yeah, I mean, if they get a Curnow, I'd be going for a Curnow if he's up for it.
I'm not sure Elliott and Mychek frees up that much money. That's what they're not happy about. Well, should we? Where do you want to go? Grand final, or you want to talk about players leaving our clubs?
Let's talk about the grand final.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Who are you tipping?
I'm tipping Geelong. I'm tipping Geelong just because they've just been consistently good for the last, especially the last half of the year as well. It just feels like to me they're in that form they were in when they towed up the Swans. They just really, they're all clicking. And Scott as well. I mean, Chris Scott is, he's a master coach. So he's got so many tricks up his sleeve when things aren't going well. He's got that ability to move his players around. And he really is like, it's like a chessboard to him. And he's got a lot of pieces. They all seem to be queens, frankly, because they all seem to be going forward, straight, sideways. Okay, I'll leave the chess analogy alone.
No, it's not a bad one because Shane Mullen went to McCluggage and shut him down. And then the following week he's playing back pocket on Watson. So when you've got those pieces that you can move around, and he seems to be bringing tagging back, and it'd be very interesting to see how McCluggage handles that. The coaching genius.
Oh, it'll be up there. I mean, and also their ability to just bring in these players, and I don't want to say the word roll, but they just seem to all know what they're doing. And, as you said, O'Shea Mullen, I mean, I wouldn't even know that guy off of the Weet-Bix pack last year. And where's he come from? Manor, where's he come from? These players, they just seem to come in and they just know what position, what they're doing. And, it's just been an absolute, we'll say joy to watch because, frankly, I think, but I honestly think that Geelong have just got too much. And then you throw in Cameron, who, again, had a pretty awesome final again, kicked 3 goals. He's got that ability to lead up the ground and obviously in the forward line. He's an unbelievable kick.
Does Shannon Neal worry you at all?
No, not at all. He's the sort of guy that could win the Norm Smith. I'm telling you, could be the making of Shannon Neal. And remember, I said about Shannon Neal would have been one of the podcasts about 6 or 7 back. I said Shannon Neal. He could be the guy. I mean, they're going to be putting a lot of work.
In the first final, and Harris Andrews absolutely put him to sleep, right? In fact, I think Neil was probably the only player in that game in Geelong colours who didn't win his position. He was better last night, but I'm tipping Brisbane. Just class everywhere. I think both teams know how to play in big games, and I don't think either of them will be, get stage fright. But I just think they might. A lot of their players are fighting form, like they're missing Hipwood, Charlie Cameron. You never know whether you're going to get the good version or the bad version, and yet, which team in the comp can play the best footy? It's a toss-up between these two. I still think Brisbane at their best can blow anyone off the park for a quarter. If Rayner and Bailey and McCluggage and all these guys are firing, it'll be very interesting to see how it goes. Because I felt like Chris Scott made some great coaching moves at quarter time. I felt like McRae did at quarter time too, but then I thought Fagan did at halftime. Just changed the game. So really looking forward to that. Oh, I've got a trivia question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have, if you could take a set of brothers right now in your team for the rest of their careers,
Yeah.
you're taking the Dacos brothers or the Ashcroft brothers?
I take the Ashcroft. Brothers.
It's a tricky one
I would.
because
I
Nick
would.
could end up
I
being one of the
would.
best players we've ever seen.
For some reason, and the reason why I say that is I can see them kicking more goals. Right? I mean, Nick Dacos can kick some goals. Josh can, kick the odd goal. But I tell you what, like those Ashcroft brothers, they're kicking 2 goals. They're kicking, a match there.
I don't think Levi's going to get Dempsey again. After the first final, I remember thinking, if you haven't got a guy who's 6'3" who can run with him down to the goal square,
Yeah.
you're giving up 2 goals a game.
Yeah.
And in this grand final, I don't think anyone can afford to do that. So I don't think I don't think they'll be putting him on Dempsey. There were a lot of questions after the first final. Oh, do they run both ways? They looked pretty good last night.
They do run both ways. They run sideways, forwards, backwards.
Yeah. It's an interesting one because I would have assumed the Dacosses, but I was just watching the Ashcrofts last night and I thought, and it's tricky because Levi, you don't know what he's going to be. Good first year though. I think he got a wake-up call in that first final. Subbed him off. He was like, "Do you know who I am?"
I'm the brother.
And
I'm
the
the
son.
brother of Will.
Yeah.
And the son.
You've seen my bloodline.
Mark?
Yeah. But I just want to throw that out there.
That's good.
Yeah, it'll be a cracker grand final. It's the grand final because I've been saying Brisbane all year. Everyone's been saying Geelong in the second half of the year. Let's see if Dangerfield can do it again, or whether the sheer weight of class in the mind you, that's very disrespectful to Holmes.
Absolutely. But especially Bailey. So who's your Norm Smith?
How about we go
prediction?
3 from each side?
Okay.
All right. So if it's Geelong, I'm saying probably the 3 midfielders: Bailey Smith, Holmes, and Dangerfield.
Okay.
If it's Brisbane, I'm saying Bailey, Rayner, McLuggage.
Okay.
Oh, Will Ashcroft.
So,
Let's take Bailey out. Rayner, McLuggage, Will Ashcroft.
okay. So if it's Geelong for me, I'm going for Big Loves. I'm also going for Atkins. I think Atkins has had an absolute.
Smokies.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I'm going a
Are you
smoky.
sticking with Neil, like you said before, or I don't want
Yeah,
to
I'm
box
going
you?
Neil. I'm going Neil.
Wow.
Absolutely. So there's 3. That's the thing about Norm Smith. So they can just produce and where you least expect it.
Yeah.
And
Not many people would have picked Bobby Hill.
no, agreed. Not many would have, exactly, picked Brian Lake also back in when he was
Win
a
it.
ball. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right, 3
and
for Brisbane.
3 for Brisbane. Yep, I'm going Zac Bailey
Right.
for sure. I'm going Harris Andrews.
I was going to say. Yep.
Harris Andrews just is so strong, such a strong interceptor. And also, I might go Dane Zorko.
Yeah.
I'm going Dane Zorko. Like his first half.
Have you ever
was
seen
shocking.
anyone ride a roller coaster like he did last night?
know.
He was like the worst ranked player at halftime. He personally gave up 3 goals, like directly, and then in the second half just goes, hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly. And special mention to Archie, Callum Archie.
Are you going special mentions as well? To me, that just sounds like you're trying to shoot one at 420.
That's right.
You swoop on the Bailey as soon as I left here. All right, yeah, Harris Andrews. I've got pick envy.
Yeah.
All right, only 1 or 2 things else to talk about. You guys have a new coach,
We do.
Stephen King.
Yep.
First thing he's done is get rid of Stephen May, which I've kind of been preaching all year.
Yeah, so both have.
Does that fit with what you try? I mean, I feel like mixed messages. Oh, we definitely have to make finals next year. That's why we got rid of our coach. But the first thing we're going to do is, get rid of our 34-year-old.
Yeah, look, it wasn't. If you have a look at, if you actually just sort of had a look back at the reel of some of our matches,
He's dropped off.
not just no, he hasn't dropped, but his not say attitude, but just his ability to give away 50s and to be frustrated and to just, turn the tide negatively towards another team when he gives away these frees. He's still a very, very good player, don't get me wrong. But, just enough's enough, I would rather... There's nothing more frustrating when you see a player that actually just gives away so many 50s and even you can tell gets frustrated so much and you just,
I'll tackle the Petrarca question in a different way. If you're Hawthorn, would you take Petrarca or Merrett? If you could have either and they were going to cost you the same, who would you take?
I would take Petrarca. I'd take Petrarca. I think, look, they're both very, very good players. They're both very good players. So I take just because I think he's got that, and not to say Merrett isn't this, but I see Petrarca more of a bull, right? And I see in the midfield that Hawks need one of those bulls in the midfield that really does
Another
open
one
the game
on
up.
top of Newcomb.
Yeah,
The
to help
kicking,
Newcomb out.
kicking's the worry. So for me, I would take Merrett. And again, we might be living in bias central here. But for me, the kicking makes a huge difference because Petrarca is a bull and he can crash packs. But once he kicks it, a lot of the times it's coming back. Whereas Zac is a beautiful user of the ball. And the other reason that I would take Merrett over Petrarca, if it was 2 years ago, I'm with you. I go Petrarca. But I think that car crash injury that he had last year where he nearly died, I think that's a career turner. And I think Zac's got another 4, 5, 6 years in him. Zac hasn't dropped off in the last 3 years. He's exactly the same player at 29 that he was at 26. He's a beautiful user. He's a good tackler. And Petrarca is a gun. But I feel like there's been a little bit of a drop off this year and the disposal. So they're my reasonings.
Yeah.
So you get rid of May. You're putting a lot of faith in Turner.
I'll agree.
We said you found a gun, or good centre half back, and now we see what Lever can do. And if Stephen King can get everything out of Van Ruin that you've been saying all year is coming, then you might be where you want to be.
Yeah. And again, Tom McDonald, we're having that discussion, right? Because Tom McDonald was pretty much the standard. He was in the back line. Whilst Lever was injured or May was suspended and injured, Tom McDonald was really in the back line, sort of, marshalling the troops.
Would you stop talking to me about your average tall players? I don't want to. I kind of did you a favour and allow that maybe Van Ruin would improve. And now you start talking to me about T-Mac. If you start with who's that Petty? Oh my God, I'm out of here. You're not getting back to the promised land with McDonald and Petty, mate. Fine. Anyway, all right. Hopefully,
Okay.
Turner, we'll push ahead with Turner.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, let's finish with the Merrett chat. And I just want to give the Essendon perspective. I want to give my Essendon perspective because the media just tends to run off on these narratives. One of the reasons I asked you is one of the most respected journalists ever that I listen to. I've got a lot of time for Jared Waitley's opinion.
Yeah.
The day after the last Hawthorn final, he's like, well, they don't even really need him. And he'd be a nice to have. And I'd give him pick 8 and tell him to bugger off if they want him more. I was like, and I'd take Petrarca over him. That was why I asked you. All right, hold on for 1 sec. Because if I hear another media person tell me that we should take pick 8 and a guy called, is it Hustwaite? And if they're feeling generous, they throw in Cam Mackenzie, who can't get a game. I'll take Cam Mackenzie. and I'll take pick 8. I'll tell you what I don't need, right? Having just said I need, I'll take pick 8 if that's all you can find. But we have picks 4, 5. If we get the right deal with Sam Draper, we've got 4, 5, 6, 21, 24. You know what I really don't need? Another top pick in an average draft. I don't need that. We've already got a young team. I've got 5 kids coming, 5 18-year-olds coming in, sucking on their thumb. I don't need that, right? So if you have to make pick 8, fine. But I'd rather talk players. I've got a captain who's under contract for 2 years. You're coming to me. You're Hawthorn and you go, oh, if we could just take your best player, we could win a premiership. Oh, don't worry about what you get. Well, of course, we want to talk price. All right, fine. You've got 2 gun midfielders, but you're trying to build a midfield. So you're not going to give away Newcombe or Day. And frankly, I'm not taking Day. Would you take Day for Merrett? Amazing player. Doesn't seem to get on the park very much. A lot younger. Merritt's got 250 games. He's 29 years old. I see him as our Pendlebury. He's going to play another 5, 6 years of quality football, and he's a great user of the ball. So if you went 1 for 1, all right, let's leave Newcombe and Day out of it because you want to build a premiership midfield, so it makes no sense for you to trade one of those. And frankly, I would take Newcombe in a second, and Day, the injuries would concern me.
Who do you want?
Well, let's look at your next level down. You want a gun midfield? Give me Weddle or give me Watson. They're young. You want the 3rd best player at my club this century after Hurd and Lloyd. You want a 6-time Essendon Crichton medal winner, and you want is it 4-time All-Australian? That's what you want. So how about you take pick 8 and Huswaite you want to buy a Rolls Royce. So can you stop offering Toyota prices, please? Right? If it's not Weddle, okay, and it's not Watson, I get that. I totally get that. But I think Essendon have played this totally wrong, where they need to go, all right, what Brad Scott said on the first night was fantastic, right? He's a contracted player. He's our captain. Sure, we can work this out. We'll take him back. Then they get into the slings and arrows. Put that aside. Don't say another word. You don't want to turn up and sit on our table at the Brownlow. You don't want to come to the best. I don't care, right? Until Hawthorn comes up with a deal. And here's what I would take. I would take Cam McKenzie. I'd take your pick 8. And then you wanted to talk to me about Meek, Dylan Moore,